Welcome back to the Progress Over Perfection podcast, where we talk to real people about real things involving weight loss, nutrition, fitness, and mindset. I'm your host, Ryan Johnson, and the show is produced by Josh Toller. I have a very exciting episode to bring to you all. A little different than some of the call-in style shows that we've done up to this point. I am going to be talking with a fellow intermittent fasting YouTuber. You may know her as the intermittent fasting foodie. I'm going to be talking with Jackie today, and I really look forward to having a conversation with her. I think it's very unique that we have very similar stories, kind of following a similar path, but obviously we have our own unique differences. I'm looking forward to talking with her and sharing that conversation with you all. But before we get started there, we have a short word from the sponsor of today's episode. We'd like to thank today's sponsor, Premier Protein. If you've been following my journey for a while, you know how important it is for me to find simple and effective ways to get my protein in, especially with my busy lifestyle. That's where Premier Protein comes in. This isn't just any protein shake, it's been a game changer for me. I usually break my fast with one of these. Why? Well, it's packed with 30 grams of protein and it's low in sugar, making it the perfect first meal of the day for me. It keeps me full, fuels my muscle, and supports my recovery after workout. Plus, the taste, they're really good. I've always been a fan of their cafe latte flavor, but they've got a variety of options to suit any taste. It's like having a treat without the guilt. And for those of you who are always on the go like me, Premier Protein shakes are super convenient. Just grab one on your way out the door and you're set. So if you're looking to support your fitness goals and need a convenient, tasty way to up your protein intake, give Premier Protein a try. Trust me, your taste buds and your muscles will thank you. And remember, it's all about progress over perfection. I am super excited to talk with today's guest, Jackie. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Ryan. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I'm super excited. I think, I know when you started your podcast, I think I was super excited when you reached out to talk with me. We have spoken a bunch, but I'm super excited to kind of get into today.
Yes, I'm excited too. And I'm excited to show your fans that I do know you. I don't just copy you.
Oh, I love it. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I think one of the things, again, intermittent fasting, I love the idea of sustainability. I think you do as well, but content creation and everything, I love that too. So for those that don't know or are maybe seeing you for the first time, go ahead and just give us a little bit of background.
So I'm very similar to you, Ryan. I am a stay-at-home parent. I have young children, and my entire adult life, I have battled the weight loss cycle. I would be super gung-ho. I would do Weight Watchers predominantly, or diet bets, some sort of calorie restriction, and I'd lose weight, but I'd miss all my favorite foods, and I'd eventually just say, screw it. I'd hit burnout, and I'd gain the same. Basically, it was 30 to 40 pounds ever since I had children. So it was pregnancy really kind of was the catalyst of weight gain, and then I was constantly gaining or losing weight. And I got really sick of it. And then when I found fasting, I honestly thought it would be another diet that I tried. I strictly came to it for weight loss, and that was about 4 years ago now. But I instantly fell in love with it. I did lose the weight. I have sustained weight loss. But more than that, I have found peace of mind and freedom. And I just love talking about fasting and the balance that it's brought to my life.
No, I absolutely love that. And I think it is so crazy how similar our stories are, not only in the yo-yo dieting. I think that's like almost at this point, it's one of my catchphrases. Like I've gained and lost the same 40 to 60 pounds countless times. But not only did we both find fasting, we both around the same time started sharing our fasting journeys on YouTube. What has that experience been like for you? I know that's, I was kind of challenging myself trying to think when the first time I found you on YouTube was, and it probably wasn't too long after I got on YouTube because, you know, I'm researching, seeing what everyone else is doing. But what made you decide to start posting on YouTube?
So I started my YouTube journey well before fasting. It's because I have, you know, kind of a go-getter personality. I have my bachelor's and master's degree. I had a great career. And then I started having children and I instantly felt called to be home. But once I did that, I really missed production and output. That just felt like a big void in my life. And so YouTube felt like the perfect blend of producing something, but only being responsible to myself. So I could still be the stay-at-home mom, prioritize my children, but I could have like widgets that I produced. So I did that, and I was throwing spaghetti at the wall, just seeing what kind of content I liked making, what kind people resonated with. I did everything from like cleaning videos, which I'm a very messy person. It didn't work out well for me, to grocery hauls. I still make those. But when I found fasting, what's really interesting is my entire YouTube journey. So it was about 2 years I was into YouTube before I started fasting. I never once shared about Weight Watchers. I didn't share about calorie restriction. I was almost ashamed. I don't want people, like, it wasn't something I was like excited to talk about. And then when I found fasting, I would have probably bet money at the beginning I would have never shared it with people, because I never want people to think because I want to lose weight, I think you have to lose weight, or that I have it all together. And I'm certainly not a scientist or a dietitian or anything. I just became, I don't want to say obsessed, but almost obsessed with how awesome I thought fasting was. I felt like it was cruel if I didn't share the freedom that I found with others. And then I started sharing the videos, and then I only wanted to make fasting videos. So it just took over my channel. I changed my channel name, and honestly, that was the catalyst of my channel actually growing, was being the intermittent fasting foodie.
Oh, I love that. And I think one of the things, again, there are a lot of parallels, and one of the ones that I enjoy, and there are so many different paths out there you can take. And one of the things that I believe, and I think you kind of feel similar, is there is no one right answer. Getting deep into the science, I know that is one of the things that I struggled with for a while with the yo-yos, because I always wanted to do everything like optimal, and letting go of optimal is one of the things that transformed not only my weight loss, but more importantly, like the sustainability aspect. So what has that been like for you to do it your way and not like over obsess with doing it perfect?
It's funny because I'm actually responding to kind of in a spicy way to a comment that I got today, and I think it's a great illustration of this point. I recently shared what I ate at Chili's, and I said that I picked an appetizer that was high in protein versus the chips and salsa. And someone said, I don't know if they called me an idiot or something similar, saying, you're considering protein, but you're eating fried foods. You're a walking oxymoron. I don't think there's anything wrong with letting fasting meet you where you're at. I do like fried foods. I like sugar, but I like that fasting can allow me to seek health by reaching autophagy, ketosis, getting my body a rest state. And then I can have other foods that maybe aren't optimal, but instead of eating them all day long, I can still find progress, and I can still consider, hey, this is better because it has protein, even if it's fried, than having the chips and salsa. Like, I can make choices without feeling like I have to be perfect. And so many people feel like if I'm not doing everything perfect, I might as well not start. And I want to be the person that says, hey, I still find success and you can too, because with all the people out there that say, well, there's no point in doing it if you're not doing it perfectly, they're going to encourage people to do nothing. I want to be the person that says, hey, I do it imperfectly, which I don't really like saying that because I find a lot of success and I'm very proud of my journey. I want people to see other people doing it imperfectly and still finding success so that they're encouraged to take those minor steps that add up over time.
The people that see that and resonate with that, I love getting those emails, those comments. I have found success when I stopped, when I just started to do those one or two little things. I love when our videos find the right audience. Now, that's not always the case. And I think one of the things that you and I can attest to, and part of the reason we get those hate comments, is we find somebody that sees a single video, and it doesn't matter what you eat in a day. Like if you ate quote unquote perfect, somebody would find fault with it. The thing that I love is the ability to literally share what we do over a long enough period of time. And that's what's important, right?
Yes.
No singular day does count. It's literally all of them taken together.
And even if my singular days added together still look like garbage to someone, isn't it better than doing that all day long? Like if you want to go so basic and add it all up, like that's what I tell people. Like, can you refute that it's better for me to do it in a 2-hour window than a 24-hour window? Which I don't eat the same thing. Every single day looks different, to your point. And sometimes people are like, don't respond to the negative comments. But for me personally, I'm not responding to change them. I'm responding so that the people that read the comments that think, oh my gosh, I shouldn't do this, they see me standing up for it. They see me saying it doesn't have to be perfect. That's why I like to respond to them. And yes, sometimes a little bit of it makes me feel like a warrior woman. But for the most part, it's not to get them to change their mind, because most of the time trolls probably aren't going to change their mind, but it's for the person that's learning or deciding, should I do it? They're going to read the thread and they're going to say, okay, they brought this up. But I like the way that she says, I don't have to be perfect to make progress.
No, the haters, again, a lot of it rolls off my back thanks to my time in the Army. But for the same reason, I like making those clapback videos for that reason also, is because I know somebody is going to hear the real message and they're going to take something from that. Speaking about making the videos and everything, I would be interested, how much of what you're eating is with the realization that you are going to be making the videos? And just like an example for myself is like, I would tend to find something that I like and eat it again and again and again. But I try to vary what I eat just so the videos get varied a little bit. What about you? How much does the videos kind of affect what you're eating?
Well, 100%. And I actually, because I consider myself like a lowbrow foodie, I like food. It excites me. I'm not like highfalutin, need, really gourmet stuff. So naturally, I like to try new things and go do stuff. It's been amped up a little bit because my husband would go to Carrabba's and eat, chicken Alfredo every single date night. He likes the same food. And I'm like, Matt, we can't film there again. Matt, we have to try something new. I haven't done this restaurant. So I've started to be like, hey, the next date night, do any of these, or we do a lot of date lunches when the kids are in school. Do any of these restaurants look good? And then I kind of let him pick. So it plays a role. He's been a really good sport about it. For me, it makes it more exciting because I naturally like to do new things and different stuff. It is more pushing him outside his box because I'm telling you, he'd eat the same like meals on repeat. I am one that's like, hey, I love going to new restaurants at all times. And even the meal selection, I feel like it helps me be a little bit more accountable, to be honest, when I'm filming what I eat in a day. And I think I had a friend that was like, you have the benefit of sharing what you do because you're constantly wanting to put out different messages. And I will never lie in what I'm doing. And so if I don't want to lie, it sometimes helps me to be like more on a straight and narrow, if that makes sense.
That 100% makes sense. I love that. And I say, part of the reasons that I make these videos is to keep myself accountable.
Mm-hmm.
I like to say I don't track calories anymore. I did the first year, because calories do play a part. You can't overeat in your window and lose weight. So I don't track calories, but I do track what I eat in the form of the videos, knowing that I'm going to put it out. It does help me to make maybe a little bit of a better choice. And I think like you, I'm committed to sharing authentically as well. I film 4, maybe 5 days out of the week. And there are times where it was like, man, this would make a better video if I just said I ate one meal a day. I don't do it every day. I do it probably 3-4 days a week because I know if I do one meal at a restaurant, it's going to perform better. But the reality is I may have a protein shake before I go out. Well, now that can't be the video. It's got to be everything I ate today, not one meal. But I love your commitment. It's super authentic. I love it.
That is so funny because I do kind of think of like, oh, if I do this, I have to phrase it this way. It's interesting, but it's just like having an accountability partner. Our partners are our YouTube community. And I actually think that's one thing that they probably like about both of us is we are being real with them. We're not showing, steamed broccoli and chicken breasts as our meals of the day. They can tell that we are authentically finding the balance, and it's fun. Sometimes it is like the one that I can think of most recently, we went to a fundraiser at a local distillery and I was filming an OMAD video and I thought, oh, if I have another drink, I have to show it. So I didn't get another one. It was just, part of my decision-making process. And there are times I have 3 drinks and I'll share that, but it was part of my decision maker on Monday.
The example that I'll use with people sometimes is how making these videos has helped me sustain my weight loss is, again, I'm committed to sharing authentically. And I can't tell you how many times I have passed on just like a dad tax, like taking a few Cheez-Its from the girls because I don't feel like filming this. Therefore, I'm just not going to eat it. It saved me a lot of little snacking.
You know what? One thing that I absolutely love about fasting, speaking of the dad tax or the mom tax, people I don't change or restrict foods that I eat, but so many of my habits have been washed away just from the habit of fasting. I used to pack lunches at 6:30 in the morning. I still do, but Cheez-Its, that's the funny thing. Every time I put like sliced pickles or Cheez-Its, or I'd lick the peanut butter off a spoon or a knife if I made peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I didn't realize how many of those habits I had until I was fasting, and it has helped me so much, not even in the fasting window, but I no longer pick even in my eating window because it's not a habit in my day all day.
I love that. And I love fasting for the same reason, because it sounds counterintuitive, but going without eating for periods of time does bring so much attention to those things that you are eating, right? Like, you snack less often because you want a meal. Like, I love that. And I think one of the things that I found was road trips. Road trips for us was 100% a habitual eating. It doesn't matter if we were driving 14 hours from Fort Campbell to Florida, or if we were driving 3 hours from Jacksonville to Melbourne. We started every road trip with a stop at the gas station. I'm going to get some Doritos, some different things, and I'm going to eat, not because I'm hungry, but because that's just when I eat. So I think fasting has really helped bring me in tune with my own hunger signals.
We were always big road trip snackers, and I still pack for my family, but just the habit of not eating most of the time, it's so much easier to say no. And even I don't feel left out anymore when I say no, because nothing's off limits in my window. So if I'm not snacking all during the road trip, am I really going to miss that trail mix or the packaged cookies? Honestly, I don't really anymore. And if I want it, I'll have a few in my eating window. But to your other point, I have had to change my habit of snacking because I learned really early on, when I ate snacks to open my eating window, I did not enjoy my dinners. And it was like, I'm not hungry for my dinner. And that's another habit that it wasn't me making a conscious decision. It was me saying, I want to enjoy the meal, therefore I must not snack as much. And I like that I can have these habits molded more naturally than me feeling restricted. Like, okay, the rule is you don't snack anymore. Instead, it's I want to enjoy my meal, and I've learned that I can't snack as much beforehand to enjoy the meal.
I love having just a few simple rules. Again, that's why I recommend fasting, or that's why it's worked for me, is because it's simple. Sometimes our lives are so busy. Like, I don't have time for complicated.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your meal planning, because I'm interested in this, because I kind of know what I do a little bit. How far out are you planning what you're eating, say, in a given day, in a given week? How far ahead are you right now? Like, do you know what you're eating today, tomorrow? How far ahead do you know right now? Or how much do you leave it up to what you're feeling?
If I leave it up to what I'm feeling, I would go out to eat every single day. So I can't do that budget wise. Because then I'd have to multiply it by 5, 5 people in the family. For what we do is I meal plan every Saturday or Sunday, and then I grocery shop on Monday for the following week. And mostly what I do is I have 7 days of meals, and I'll think of, kids' sports practices and events that we have going on. So I try to put like really easy meals on our busier nights, or a lot of times those will be my down days. I also, usually I do 5 days of home cooked meals. As a family, we'll either get takeout and go out to eat one day, and then usually my husband and I will try to do a date if it works with both of our work schedules. So I do that meal planning for the next week on a weekend, and then I'll know basically what my meals are going to be, but they might shift a little bit. So like last night was going to be drunken noodles, but I ran out of time between 2 events, so we shifted it, but drunken noodles will be Saturday instead. But I have a general idea a week ahead of time, and I 100% take into consideration meals that I don't want to eat on down days or when I'm meeting my husband for dates, because I still will make that dinner, but I'm like, okay, my kids love plain buttered noodles with Parmesan and garlic. I don't like that meal. That is way too basic for me, so I will plan that on a day that I'm meeting my husband for lunch. That will be an OMAD for me almost exclusively. And then I make sure that the meal later in the day isn't something that I'll be sour for missing.
You talk about grocery shopping and eating out. You mentioned a little bit about budget. And I think one of the things, again, everybody's lives are a little different. But one of the things when I eat out, I get the question all the time is, how do you afford to eat out so much? Now, truthfully, YouTube, TikTok picks up a portion of that. There may be some months where I make money eating out. There may be some months where I don't make any money, but it subsidizes. But even with that being said, if I didn't have YouTube and TikTok, I have found that if I go and eat out, and even if I'm eating at the house, by not snacking and being more intentional, like I look all the time, like there's a pantry full of snacks that I don't partake in. And it's like, if I did, that's some of that food budget that we sometimes don't think about, but it absolutely can save you a little bit of money.
I go between, do I save money or do I not? Because I'm more likely now to buy like the air dried steak that we both love from Aldi. Well, that's $5 a bag almost. And then I'm also more likely to get the exact meal that I want because it's my OMAD if I go out to eat. So I will pay the extra $2 for asparagus or for, you know, the nicer side salad, or I'm more likely to treat yourself, if you will, because it's my OMAD. And I think in the past I'd be like, oh, well, I don't need to do the salad and the entree. And now I'm like, well, it's all I'm eating and I want both. So I'm like, do I save money? I don't know. But we've talked about this before. Like, what a blessing that we can both like enjoy this as our work and be paid for it, because I think I dreamed that into reality, getting paid to eat.
Absolutely. With that being said, I think one of the things that is funny, and we talked about it at the beginning, but making the shorts, I think we are similar in our stories, is the fasting and the YouTube. And where we diverge a little bit is I started making long form videos, and I don't think I've ever been good at it. When I found short form content with my attention span, I think it's just something about telling a story in 60 seconds. I really kind of gravitated towards, whereas you are really good at long form. I reached out a little bit ago and talked to you about kind of creating some short form stuff, because what was that experience like?
So it's funny, you've actually said it to me a couple times, and the first time it was more like a guilt. I don't want to copy you. I don't want to, take what you did and, benefit from it, because I don't know. I didn't know if that'd be disrespectful, or you're such a nice person that I didn't want to like take advantage. And then when we were talking again, you said it and I was like, you know what? I believed you both times that you actually meant it, but it just made me feel bad. So I did it. And honestly, it has really helped me reach some people that are interested in fasting. And it's also helped me reach people that aren't interested in fasting. And I really do enjoy it. It's hard for me to, well, the Chili's video, I feel silly sometimes recording in public. I'm getting better the more that I do it. But my Chili's waitress is like, why are you filming at Chili's? We're not even fancy here. And I was like, so they do, like in my mind, I was thinking they do notice. And I thought that was really funny. But the more I do it, the more I'm like, okay, who cares? They perform well. And I find them very interesting, those videos, because whether or not you're fasting, it is fun to see like what do other people get at restaurants that I recognize. It has definitely brought more of a negative commentation or like commentary to my videos, but only on those ones. I like that it's having a more broad appeal. And I also think it's funny. This is nothing like disparaging to you. And I know we've kind of talked about this, but a male versus a female, I sometimes I want to copy your exact what I eat in a day videos. And I'm thinking particularly of one. Carrie made these delicious looking cookies and you said at the end, and I ate 8 of those, which is a very real day. Like that happens. I guarantee you that I would have been slaughtered had I said I ate 8 cookies in a day. And I don't know what your long-term comments were, but some people are like, yeah, man, sometimes you just got to enjoy what the wife cooks. And I just feel like there's a little bit of a difference, like what people will comment on a male's videos of what I eat in a day and a female. And that's sometimes very frustrating to me, but it also propels me to keep sharing authentically, because male and female both deal with the same issues. And yes, there are days I want to eat 8 cookies. And I'm not sure what your long-term comments were on that, but I, applaud you for sharing that. But I'm like, I need to make a video where I say I eat 8 cookies and just wonder how much people want to kill me after that.
Well, now I need to go back and read the comments on that video. I'm now at the point, I think at 30,000, I lost the ability to reply to every comment. And I think that in the last few months, I don't even see them all anymore. There was a point where I saw every comment. I'm no longer there. But I remember that day vividly, and that was not like a good day. Like, okay, I'm going to back up 10 seconds. I am trying to remove good and bad from my vocabulary, right? Like I don't say cheat days anymore. I'll say high calorie because that's one of the things I struggled with is like, all of the things that we put on food that food doesn't have, right? Like emotions and
Right.
like food is food, a calorie is a calorie. So that was
So
a
hard to
high
unlearn.
calorie day. It was a high calorie day for me. And as I was having them, I was like, this is probably too much. But when sharing it, I only filmed like one or two because I put my phone away. So I don't film everything I eat. I film a
Right.
bite of it and then I'll say what I eat. So it would have been easy to say, I had a cookie or two, but I 100% want to share the struggle and the reality, because I think when you don't, that's why I create these videos. Is I saw other what I eat in a day, so I'm like, that looks perfect. How do you keep that up all the time? And it's like, you don't.
Yes.
And the thought that you can is what's tripping you up.
Yeah, and I hope you don't at all take. I think it's wonderful that you shared that. But part of me does want to, as a woman sometimes, and I don't know if you would, and maybe it's me being sensitive because, I'm a woman. I don't know. But I sometimes think that if I shared the same things, people are just much more like willing to be like, oh, how dare you? But it also, women have days where we have high calorie days, of course. And there are days where they eat cookies, maybe meets an emotional need instead of, a physical need. But they happen. And I love that you are willing to share it. And I'm trying to be willing to share those same types of things so that people feel like long-term success is sustainable even when you have the high calorie days. And I think that those days teach me so much. If I have a day where I eat things and I feel bad physically, not mentally, but the mental does still linger, it teaches me like, well, next time I feel like doing that, I'm going to remember that my stomach didn't feel well that night. And I had a crappy eating window the next day as my glucose spikes kept coming. It teaches you what feels good and what doesn't feel good. And my behaviors have morphed over the last 4 years from those decisions.
I love when you said like sometimes food does meet an emotional need, because I think that's one of the other things that gets preached a lot or is out there, is this idea that food is fuel. Like, to deny that food brings some level of emotional support is to deny reality.
Yeah.
And to
absolutely.
think that's, again, it's one of those things that there shouldn't be comfort in food. And if there is comfort in food, if I'm seeking comfort from food, I am messed up. What's the point?
It will always be a reality that there are days where food is comforting, whether it's the warmth of rice pudding on a cold night, just to warm you up, or like the emotional need. However, when I'm fasting and I don't have that as a crutch anymore, I have been able to deal with things a lot better than just turning to food. And that has even helped me in my eating window. But there are certainly times where it still comforts me. Even in my eating window, the habit has improved overall. But you're right. To deny that food brings comfort would just be a lie.
Well, speaking of like fasting times and stuff, what's your schedule right now? Are you fasting now? What's your eating window look like today through tomorrow?
And currently, I have 4 minutes till I'm at 19 hours fasted. I wear my watch, use the Zero app. I am fasting until dinner tonight. So I ate a little earlier yesterday because I was fundraising at our middle school. So I ate earlier, and then I'm having a later dinner at my in-laws. I mostly do OMAD, and I really just kind of bounce between whenever it fits in my day. I used to be pretty strict for myself, and I think it was helpful when I was learning to fast. I did 18-hour minimum in between every OMAD. I still do that most of the times. However, as I'm now good at fasting, I'm able to be more comfortable with breaking the mold, if that makes sense. So if my OMAD only gets me 14 hours past my last one, but then I know I'm still only going to have an OMAD the next day, I can find success by doing a 14-hour fast, an OMAD, and then a 29 or 32-hour fast between the next one. The 18 hours was something I held to really strongly when I was learning to fast, but now I've built that fasting muscle. I'm really good at, if I have a shorter one, I can get the really long one in there. I have a lot of OMADs that are past 28 hours, and then the next one's 18 hours. It's just kind of whenever my OMAD fits in the day. So tonight's will be later than normal because we're going to my in-laws. And then tomorrow, I don't know, it's a Saturday tomorrow and all three of my kids have their own schedules. It depends on my chauffeuring schedule tomorrow, but I'll fit in a nomad somewhere.
Talking about your kids, I think that's one of the questions that I get a lot, and I usually get it around extended fasting. Like people will ask me, like, what's the longest fast you've done? Now, me personally, over the last 4 years, I've done 36 only a few times. And part of that is because I've got 2 little girls. And as much as I want to try extended fasting just to see what it feels like, I'm like aware, at least in our house and stuff, I don't want them to see me not eating and equate not eating to losing weight, right? Because they're young and impressionable. But talk to me a little bit about your ideas of fasting and having a family and how that fits in.
To understand my perspective, I think I first have to compare it to Weight Watchers and calorie restriction. I did that often when my girls were 0 to 8 or 9, my oldest. She's now 14. And I am telling you, I did not discuss Weight Watcher points with them. I didn't discuss calories. However, there were so many times I would have vegetable soup for my dinner because it was low Weight Watcher points and I was saving points for something else. And then my family would have dinner. Not only did I feel left out, but I know it looked weird that mom was eating a different dinner every single night. Now, I'm coming from that to fasting, so that's important. When I am now a faster, my priority is most of my OMADs are with my family because I enjoy family dinners. I enjoy trying new recipes or going out to eat as a family or going to my in-laws tonight and enjoying whatever's there. So my kids aren't with me. I mean, they eat breakfast really quickly before school. They eat lunch at school most days. Most of the time, the meals that we would have together would be dinner, and they see me participating. If we go out to ice cream afterwards, they see me joyfully participating. I'm not talking about, okay, I need a half a cup of this, and it would be this many points, but I won't put it in the dipped waffle cone. I don't do any of that anymore. I would have on Weight Watchers, or I would have just been like, I'm not going to eat the ice cream, and then I'd be sad about it the rest of the night. I think I've explained all my children, one, they don't even pay attention to it anymore because they're worried about themselves for the most part. But when I started fasting, I said, I'm a grown adult. I'm not growing anymore. You guys are constantly changing shoe sizes, clothing sizes, and they could see that, I'm not developing anymore. I don't need the same things as you. I don't need to eat all day because of that. And it took, they got used to me not eating all the time. So now if they're like, hey, you want to try this? Are you fasting? It's just like the smallest acknowledgement, and they see me participating and enjoying so much of our life around food. And they see me, like, oh, it's St. Patrick's Day. Let's do this themed meal and get Shamrock Shakes. I don't think that they at all are getting negative with it because they see me enjoying everything on the spectrum. And like right now, I've been trying to eat more protein, and I'll be like, oh, do you guys want to try this? And they see me like trying to add. I don't ever talk about taking things away from my diet. And so when I am fasting, it's not about food. It's just I'm just not eating at that moment. And then they see me doing everything in between on my eating window. And I think that shows like they see me enjoying it and they see me pursuing balance. And if my kids are fasters as adults, I would not be ashamed whatsoever.
Intermittent fasting may not be for everybody. It's not a magic pill. I am not a zealot, and I don't think you are either. It's not the right thing for everybody, but if you have a family, it's one of the things that I love the most. I have done Weight Watchers. I have done low carbs, and it's like the idea of eating different foods from my family is something that I absolutely wanted to avoid, which is one of the reasons that I came to fasting is like, I want to have family. I want to eat the same food. I don't want, oh, dad can't eat this.
Because that's going to translate later in life. Like, wait, why should I consider not eating this? I would have never been able to say. First of all, I learned so much from Weight Watchers, even just considering what to eat versus not eating. So I think it's a decent program, and I did always lose weight. I just couldn't sustain the point counting. And if my kids someday were like, hey, Mom, let's do Weight Watchers together, I can't say that I'd be like super enthusiastic that we're in that club together. But like, hey, Mom, let's fast. I'm like, I'd probably be pretty stoked if they chose to do that.
Well, good stuff. So again, thank you so much for joining me today. I told you before we started recording, like I could talk forever. So thanks again for being on today. Tell us a little bit, where can people find you? Where can people reach out if they've got any questions or anything like that?
The best place to find me is I'm Intermittent Fasting Foodie on YouTube. My handle is @fastingfoodie, just so it's a little shorter there. I do have a website, same name, intermittentfastingfoodie.com. I'm horrible at upkeep. And I have season 1 of a podcast. It's on a recording break. I'm not sure when it will come back, but I do love to share fasting every single day on YouTube. I also have a grocery channel because, again, I love food, so I share my grocery hauls at Grocery Addict on YouTube. So those are the best places to connect. I'm always on YouTube. I have an Instagram, but I'm not the best at it.
No, I'm a YouTube first as well. I have the other ones now kind of because I have to, but I love YouTube.
Me too.
Well, good stuff. Well, thanks again for joining me, and we'll talk again soon.
So thanks so much, Ryan.
Thanks again for listening to another episode of the Progress Over Perfection podcast. Remember, we are not looking to lose weight fast. We are looking to lose weight forever. If you have a question or would like to be a caller on the show, check out the description. Make sure to subscribe on our YouTube channel for clips and shorts of the show, and add us wherever you listen to your podcast. Thanks again for the support, and we will see you next week.